do a serious one.
Yeah.
So joining you live from the World Championship 2023 in Barcelona, the Living Legend podcast.
Excelente, we're back in Barcelona. No, we're not. We're recording the Living Legends podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Your one-stop shop for the... I haven't done the intro in so long, I've forgotten what it is. Brilliant. Your one-stop shop for everything flesh
we
and
talk
blood
about flesh and
related.
blood, yeah.
That's pretty much it. But yeah, I'm your host for today.
We occasionally talk about flesh and blood, but you know, most
Sometimes
of the
other
time,
things.
yeah, sometimes other things. If we're your one-stop shop, what are you buying? What you buying?
What are you buying? What are you selling? Absolute Resident Evil 4 already creeping into this podcast, which I haven't played. I haven't played the recent one, by the way. I need to.
It was a crime. The game is great. This game is great.
Yeah. But yeah, we can save any of that for any Arsenal steps, because I've definitely been playing some games recently. But we're going to be speaking about Flesh and Blood today. There isn't too much news, so it's going to be like a fast and loose one today. But we haven't actually, as a group, we haven't really talked about the heroes that have been revealed so far, apart from Kasai on a previous one. But we haven't touched on Betsy, Olympia, Kayo, the Rhinar reprint. So we're going to go into all of that today. So yeah, should be good. But first of all, how's everyone doing? I'm here with Bill, first of all, as a co-host.
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, it's good. It is actually, as of the day that we're recording this, my birthday today. So
happy birthday to you.
Yeah, so I mean, outside of Flesh and Blood, that's the thing that's going on right now.
Yeah. You're out for dinner tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, going out with Elliot from the Spike Feeders and our respective partners. So it'll be lots of fun. Looking forward to that.
Not to engagement bait even more, but I did have a question for all the listeners and viewers out there. Since it is Bill's birthday, I was like, you know what? We should ask everyone who they think the youngest person of the podcast is. I'm very curious to see.
I like that.
Who will people say is the youngest? Now that it's Bill's birthday, does that change who is the youngest? I guess it wouldn't change. It could elevate Bill up to maybe like the same age or maybe slightly older, like by 1 year. You know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if
everybody who follows me on Twitter will get a cheat code for that, basically, because I did just tweet out how old I am. So
that's right.
If you don't already follow me on Twitter, go for it, and then you will be more prepared for questions like this in the future.
Yeah. Well, then you'll have to guess that based on what you either know about Az and my age, or just randomly guess. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether we've actually told anybody our ages before on the podcast. So yeah, it'd be interesting. So? Yeah, I'm not sure. Bill's obviously spilled the beans on Twitter. So at Bill TSF, if you want to go find out the juicy stuff right now. But yeah, I'm also joined by Kel, of course, over there on the I don't know what the layout is these days. Is you on the bottom?
It's the same, yeah. 30? On the bottom, yeah.
As it should be. Anyway.
But how's it going, everyone? Today is actually also, it's Bill's birthday, but it's also the very first episode of season 3 of the Living Legends podcast. This is the first episode of our technically our third year, first episode of 2024. So happy New Year, everyone! Happy New Year.
We've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah, that's
this is episode 81 or 82, if I remember right. So we're getting there to 100, and kicking off technically season 3. That's how I label them when I upload them to Spotify. I label them like seasonal by year. So
nice.
Season 1 was shorter, but season 2 was our first full year, which is really cool.
Yeah, completely forgot about the fact that we are in a new year now. So happy New Year, and hope everyone had a good holiday season and all this. But yeah, that's an interesting stat, as to how long we've actually been doing this. So yeah,
season 3 already. Time flies.
Yeah, we are getting older, as you've experienced
I
today,
am,
Bill.
yeah, literally today I am, yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
the
Exactly.
the counter just ticked up one more for Bill. The +1 old. Yep.
The world has gone around the sun one more time.
Yeah, I am no longer hero type young.
That's right.
Yeah, you're hero type old. Now you have 40 health instead of 20 health.
Hold on a minute. As you get older, your health increases. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey,
Because you
look.
become more resilient, I think, is the idea.
Sure. Yeah. Just look at Oldham. And look at
Yeah.
I don't know. You can Flesh and let's just say Flesh and Blood age dynamics are a little weird because you have Oldham, but then you also have Genus, who I don't know if Genus is actually older than Oldham. I think Oldham might be older than Genus because Oldham was like basically like, you know,
nice, wasn't he?
He was like, yeah, I was gonna say like carbon frozen or something, but you know, he was like just kind of
the grandfather of eternity after all.
He's like napping. Yeah.
He's been here for the longest time. But yeah, so yeah, it's going to be, as I said to begin with, quite a loose episode today, as you can already expect. But we are going to speak about the heroes at length and how all of our thoughts on those combined, and how we feel like the mechanics of those heroes as well could be a good or bad thing, you know, going into future sets or what we've experienced already. But this week in Flesh and Blood, nothing has really happened with regards to news. But has anybody done anything at all? I've got things I can talk about, but I just wanted to check on you guys as well.
I mean, other than make content, not really. It's just
not much going on, is there? Really?
I made some content about the heroes. I made a new video for channel Fireball talking about heavy hitters, but other than that, not really much else. Yeah.
Well, we are in a quiet period.
Yeah, we're just prepping our reveal video for our heavy hitters preview.
Of course.
So that'll be very fun. We have a really cool idea for that one. Honestly, I think it's not going to be quite the same style as some of our other ones, but it's going to be the same sort of feeling. If you
okay,
if you catch my drift. Gamers.
What day is yours supposed to launch on?
The 16th, I believe.
I think mine is technically also the 16th because the email said it was like 17 New Zealand time.
Yeah. Oh, then I think ours is actually the 18th.
Okay.
I think when we talked about this earlier, mine was like the day after yours. So yeah, I think it's the 18th. We will have information about that on
so yours
somewhere.
So yours would be the 17th thing, because like mine. Wait, let me think. Yeah. So I think mine is technically on the 16th because the email said 17 New Zealand time, and we know New Zealand's in the future. So I think mine's technically on the 16th.
Something. People who have interacted with me across multiple time zones know for a fact that time zones are my worst enemy.
Yeah.
When it comes to like trying to translate it in my head, like even if I look it up on, like I usually look up whatever time zone, like whatever time and time zone in not even Central Time, because I'm in Central Time, but I frequently forget that too. So I'll just say in Winnipeg.
Right. Yeah.
Winnipeg.
And it'll show up, and then I immediately forget what the answer was. So.
Yep.
Our preview card is getting revealed at some point that is in an email that I've already forgotten.
Yeah, and that's a funny thing as well. It's just like the thing I revealed seems like so long ago now. I completely forget that, you know, everyone else has got their stuff coming. So yeah, I cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. Very interested to see what your guys' videos are and what your cards are, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So my week in Flesh and Blood, I've literally just released a video actually. So when you're seeing this, people that are watching this or listening to this back, I've literally just done an itinerary similar to what I did for Barcelona. I've just done a little video saying what I'm going to be doing in SCG Con in Hartford. So it's now been confirmed that the Hartford calling is going to be at SCG Con. which is interesting because it's I've never been to one of these, obviously, and SCG is encompassing of multiple games, not just Flesh and Blood. I've signed up for a load of events, courtesy of the normal guy who pays for my events, and I give him all of the swag, Tobias from Sigilate Games. He's getting all the stuff, obviously. But there's Magic there. There's also Lorcana there as well. So I don't know whether I'm going to bring a Magic deck. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be able to have enough time to play anything other than Flesh and Blood. But I've signed up for so many events, like I normally do. I'm the opposite of you, Bill. You said you don't like to have like a packed schedule events, but I'm just like I like to have a nice thing that I can do if I want to, and if not, well, I don't have any choice because I have to do the events this time. But there we go. But yeah, this just did a video on that, revealing all of the events I'm going to be doing. So that should be good fun. Going around and collecting all the promos for my mate. And there's a Battle Hardened as well, CC one, so I'm going to be playing in that with Azalea. And recently do a lot more gameplay on Monday nights now as well. So I'll do like a Monday night Discord thing. So people playing paper webcam games, and then I'll just upload some of the games to YouTube every Monday. So recently I played against a Kayo, which had a very strange deck because he was running a. Do you know what the this is a bit of quiz for you for the people that are watching, listening? What does the card Absorb in Aether do? From the top, off the top of your head, what does that card do? Absorb in Aether, a Kayo card, wizard card.
Okay, Absorb in Aether. So I remember what Aetherize does. Yeah. Absorb in Aether.
Let me just double check I have got the card name correct. So I have done this wrong before, but
is it?
No, it is correct. Absorb in Aether is the name of the card.
I think I might know what it does. I think I might know what it does. I think I know what it is. Maybe I might be thinking of a different card, but I think I know what it is.
Is it a rare from Arcane Rising?
That's what my guess is. That's one part of it.
That's the one that I'm thinking of.
I'm thinking of the rare defense reaction from Arcane Rising. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that is correct. So you're on the right lines. It is a wizard defense reaction from Arcane Rising. Well, what do you think? What do you think the mechanics do?
I know exactly what it is.
So isn't it one of the things that allows you to play your next thing as an instant?
No, no, I don't think so.
Damn.
No,
okay.
It's not.
It's one of the arcane damage pumpers. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it has like the red is a 4 block. I think it either costs 1 or 2 to play, and then it pumps up your next arcane damage card by 2. I want to say. Oh, no. I think it's 3, 2, 1. It might be, or it might be a flat 2. It's one of those two things.
Yeah, so you are definitely correct. So Absorb in Aether, it blocks for 4, 3, or 2, depending on the pitch value. Costs 1 to play as a wizard defense reaction, and it says the next card you play as turn will affect that deals arcane damage. Instead, deals that much arcane plus 2, and that's across all of the D reacts.
Cool. Yep.
So yeah, the guy I was playing was trying to play like a control-y wizard that then does stuff on your turn defensively. But then if you think about it, as a Kano player, if you then try and play defensively and then try and do stuff on your opponent's turn, when it goes to your turn, you've got nothing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, Absorbing Aether is one that I tried to when I was messing around with Kano like a couple of years ago. This is one I thought, oh, this could be quite good. But yeah, it just doesn't really do anything, especially with Kano as well. If you use Kano's ability and then you reveal this, it's dead. There's nothing you can.
Yeah, it just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, so it's a bit anti-synergistic as well. So as you can imagine, yeah, with my Azalea sort of knowledge and experience, I absolutely rinsed him, which you can see on Go Again Gaming. It was like we played 2 CC games, but the whole video was 30 minutes.
Oof.
It's almost like I was playing Wizard because it was just so much damage.
Yeah, just a bloodbath.
Just an absolute bloodbath. But yeah, that's what I've been doing this week. But I like playing as much as I can every week because there's a lot of people that like to play Flesh and Blood in different ways, and this guy just wanted to play a weird Kano Absorbing Aether deck that I've never seen before. So it's just nice to play with random folks that are in the Discord and just wanting to play some games on a Monday night. And some of them, well, a lot of them will be captured and released that same day every week now. So it's nice for me to have a little bit of regular Flesh and Blood content, although it's not highly edited or anything. It's just an OBS overlay basically, but it's nice to have that coming out every week at least, and playing every week as well. But yeah, that's pretty much my week.
Yeah.
Who wants to speak? Who wants to speak about some heroes? What was you going to say?
I was gonna say, I guess I also wrote my script for my spoiler video too, so I guess that kind of counts.
Yeah.
I wrote a script. I have it all like mentally planned out. I haven't shot it yet. I have like 2 weeks to do that. But it's mine. Mine is going to also be a little different if it goes the way that I'm planning. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. It'll be. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Can you give us not a hint, but like a flavour of what the spoiler is going to be? Is it going to be like a thematic sort of one like you've done before, or is it more of like a mechanic? Yeah. Yeah,
I'm gonna include more. I am gonna have some form of animation in it, but I'm also going to be including a couple like live action shots that I have in mind. So,
nice.
Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. Heavy Hitters is a set that, centers around Guardian, Brute, and Warrior. And I actually own, this is not something I talk about, but I actually own some like weaponry, like HEMA, like weaponry. So it's there. I have like historically accurate, battle ready weapons.
Oh geez.
High carbon steel. I went through a phase where I was like really into this stuff. So I know my stuff when it comes to it. So I can tell you the difference between something that is like people would consider like ornamental, or like something that would be like battle ready, or even further than that, it would something that would be considered more like I forgot the exact term, but one that they actually use for combat. Because like a lot of, if you don't know anything, some people would be like, oh yeah, the big shiny stainless steel sword, and that is like the best way to have the sword snap on you and stab you in the neck or something. Stainless steel is garbage, like actual garbage for fighting. Yeah. You want high carbon steel, which is like not great for longevity. You have to oil it or the rust. But anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna incorporate maybe a little bit of that into the video and some other stuff as well. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, it's not gonna be. I don't think my initial script is not super long, so I think it'll be like a fun little flavorful 20 to 60 second splash thing before I show the card and talk about it for a little bit, because the card itself is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything else, I guess.
I saw your eyes go in your head there. It's like, it's pretty cool. Pause. No, I'm not gonna say anymore.
Well, yes, yeah, it's cool. So we'll see how it goes. Definitely not as like flashy as like the Uzuri video that I made last year. Because spoilers, it's not a hero. I'm not revealing the other Guardian, which is probably no surprise to anyone out there, because who knows, the last Guardian might be revealed by the time this video goes live. I have no idea when they're supposed to come out. But and in an attempt to
know a date for that?
No.
No.
But in an attempt to segue to the hero topic, we do know the other 5 heroes of the 6 total that we have been promised in heavy hitters.
Yeah, I was gonna use that sort of segue, but you beat me to the punch there. So well done. We're on the same wavelength here, which is nice. But yeah, I was scrolling through the Flesh and Blood website before we went live on here, and it's nice. If you click on the lore section and then you click on the heroes now, it's just if you scroll down the page, there's so many heroes, and they've said that there's going to be a lot more as well this year, like 15 plus new ones, or I don't know whether it's new or existing or reprints or whatever, but you got all of these heroes at the top here, which 4 of which are unique: New Kasai, Betsy, Olympia, Kayo, then a Rhinar reprint, which obviously we'll get into. Then you've got Bright Lights, all new heroes. Then you've got the heroes of Wraith. This page is going to be absolutely massive eventually. By the end of this year, there's going to be so many heroes to play. Whether that's good or bad, obviously we can get into that.
I don't think it's bad. but we'll talk about it when we get to specifically Betsy and Olympia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, we've pretty much spoke about Kasai already on a previous one, so should we just hit hard with Kayo first of all?
Yeah.
Has anybody got
Yes.
Kayo in front of them? They want to read out Kayo? I know you said you were quite keen on Kayo, Bill,
Oh,
so maybe you want to read it out.
Yeah.
Hang on. Kayo, armed and dangerous.
I have it all
Right.
pulled up for everyone. So the people watching this, I mean, obviously you already see it here, but for you audio only lovely folks, we're gonna read it out for you.
And there's going to be Marvel like full art versions according to the website.
I think there's that for every single one of them.
Oh, I'm excited for
Yeah,
that.
because all the heroes are majestic now, which means you should be able to get Marvel versions of them, which I guess is a pro to having majestic heroes.
That's
another thing that a lot of people
I like them personally.
Yeah.
the majestic hero. I mean, the Marvels are really cool. The heroes being like majestic is a whole other thing. That
one I'm not commenting on, but the Marvels I like.
Marvel's cool. Yeah, I dig that. My TLDR on the majestic heroes is I think the adult heroes should be widely available, and if they think that they need to be short printed due to them eating up too many token slots or whatever, then they should just put them as box toppers. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So is there before we go into it? So the Marvel ones then are they fabled then? No, they're not. Are they?
They're marveled. So they have the Marvel,
like the full art Marvel, like Starvo was like there was an Icelander full art, like all the Marvels from the history packs, like that style of Marvel.
Yep, cold foil, full art on one side, hero on the other.
Oh, yeah. Of course, yeah. So the Marvel's the purple triangle. I think of fabled as the diamond. Yeah, so Marvel is completely different rarity almost. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, Kayo.
So Kayo, armed and dangerous, which is a very funny name if you've seen the art, but if you haven't, he only has one arm. And
continue the puns, all the puns.
Yeah. So that is actually extremely relevant for the card as well, because the first line of text is you have one weapon zone. So you can only have one-handed weapon or offhand equipped. Which I think is interesting because if you have a one-handed weapon and no other weapon slot, then you shouldn't be able to have an offhand. And as far as the rules are concerned right now, you can't have an offhand without a main weapon. So maybe they're changing the rules there and you'll be able to just have an offhand weapon. But
Kayo
anyway,
Kayo can be Captain America, basically.
Yeah, he could just have a shield potentially.
Wielding a shield.
There is that shield in the set. Like, there's here, you know what? Let's pull it up real quick for folks. It's that bloodied oval. So there is a shield. So if you're drafting KO, for some reason, if you don't want to use whatever his token weapon is, whether or not it's the mandible claws or whatever, you can use this oval if you want.
There we go. Just go.
Yeah, as far as I can tell,
Captain KO.
Captain KO. Yeah, because it does specifically say or offhand. So. It doesn't say and offhand because he only has one. So, But yeah. So anyway, in addition to that, that's not the only thing that he says. He also has 40 life, by the way, which is a difference of, I believe, exactly 1 from the original KO, or I guess 2. 1 for Blitz, 2 for CC. So he has the full 40 life and 20 life in Blitz. Attack action cards you own get +1 attack while they're in any zone other than the combat chain. Which feels like a weird thing to say because it's like, well, it's not a buff, except for the fact that it is, and it's kind of a huge buff to specifically blue 5 attack cards, which obviously there's been Wrecker Romp is like I think the only blue 6 that they had access to previously. Now there will be so many blue 6s that KO has access to, which is extremely good. Because then you'll be able to actually run a decent amount of resource cards, and if they get discarded by your random effects, they'll still trigger if you discard a card with 6 attack this way, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which then also leads into his last ability, which is the first time you discard a card with 6 or more attack during each of your action phases, you create a might token, which gives your next attack +1. So
I
I think
believe
this hero's really interesting.
I believe the might token specifically. I'll pull it up here. They give your next attack +1 for the next turn. They cracks at the start of the turn. It says,
Oh, start a turn. Okay.
yeah, at the start of your turn, destroy this. Then your next attack this turn gets +1. So you don't actually get the buff if you have some way to get go again and attack a second time or something in the same turn.
Yeah, you don't get the buff immediately, but it is still +1 attack, which is
Yes.
still
Yes.
quite good. Yeah, I think that his effect to bump up the attack of just random cards, like Kayo can run Enlightened Strike now. Enlightened Strike, while it's not being while it's not an attack, is a 6. It's a free 6. So I think that that's really interesting. I think there are a lot of cards that all of a sudden become really good resource cards. I think somebody mentioned that there's a way to make a KO deck so that your only 6s are Blood Rush Bellow and Berserk. Like you can have every other card in the deck be at least 6 attacks so that they're always live. Yeah, I think this card's extremely cool. And I think this is going to be the next deck I build, honestly. I think this is going to be the CC hero that I want to play because then I get to play Scowling Fleshbag.
Yeah.
And all these like random
don't let him do it.
rainbow
let him do
foils
it.
that I have.
Yeah.
Don't give Bill an excuse to run Scowling Fleshbag.
So
Scowling Fleshbag, let's go.
Yeah.
out of the 5 heroes that we've seen so far, we'll talk about the other 4 today. I think Kayo is among the most interesting for me, tied with Kasai. Couple things to note for Kayo is that you only get that +1 while they're not on the combat chain. When I first read this, and this is a mistake I made in the video that I published today, it only cares about them being on the combat chain, not what I read is
Not attacking.
Yeah, what I read is that they don't get the +1 if they're attacking on the combat chain. So if they're defending on the combat chain, they also don't get the +1. So this actually does not help you pop illusionist cards because once you defend with the card, it is on the combat chain as well. When I initially read it, I just assumed it was like, oh, while they're attacking on the combat chain, they don't get the buff or whatever. But it also does not help with poppers. As much of a corner case as that is, it's still relevant to note. Another just like a flavor thing is like, this is like the quote official version of KO because his young version is just KO, right? Just how you have your Bravo or Dorinthia as the young versions, this is like KO. So I think it's kind of interesting lore wise, and I do really like the character development that we're seeing here. Like this is the second appearance of KO, and he's actually like physically changed, narratively changed as well, but like actually physically changed, and it's represented in the card mechanics. So I think that's actually super, super cool. I really like this from a lore perspective, and like build, I think he's just really interesting. And there's to get more mechanically focused, there's a ton of 3-cost 7-attack reds in heavy hitters that we've seen so far. And we haven't even seen like half the set yet. And 3-cost 7-attack reds means that there are 3-cost 5-attack blues, which you can then use in KO, which become 6 attacks for discard purposes and all that kind of stuff.
So all the blues, like Bill was saying earlier, all the blue block 3s that attack for 5 or whatever, actually are very good in KO for the discard mechanic that he has, which ultimately do give him that +1 back, but just later on. So, and as well as that, the beat chest mechanic also synergizes with this as well. Because if you discard a 5, but it's actually a 6 because of KO, beat chest will trigger, so you get more value on those stuff as well. So maybe KO does like the beat chest stuff to then pump up his blues more efficiently towards the end. So maybe he wants to be more of a defensive sort of style thing. But that's another thing as well.
That's basically what I'm thinking his niche is going to be as well. Like he lends himself to be less of a high rolly deck than the original KO was. Because of the fact like you don't have the ability to have you don't have access to both claws because you only have one arm. So you can't have those like huge Blood Rush Bellow turns, whatever. You can still have impactful turns, but you're also being given more consistency with access to a bunch of new blue 6s. So I think he will absolutely be he will absolutely be like a much more defensive deck, and so I'm hoping for more defensive Intimidate as well to go along with the Scowling Flesh Bag.
Yeah.
But that's just me being hopeful.
Yeah, it would be cool to get like just a block card, like a brute block card that does that intimidates on block. Maybe like a majestic one, so you can't run 9 of them. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Yeah, because I mean, it dismantles. It gives these new heroes a way to dismantle the decks that just want to just go extremely wide when just say no blocks, because it just really gets in their turn. That's the way that defensive decks might be able to interact with just the raw output of damage. And similar to this as well is the card that has been spoiled, No Fear, which is the brute instant, costs nothing to play. As additional cost to play this, banish. Oh no, it's banish. Never mind. Forget what I said.
Yeah. But it still synergizes with Kayo because it cares about banishing attack cards or cards with 6 or more attack. So you can banish all those blues the blue 5s.
Yeah, so it does work. Yeah, it does work with what I'm trying. It just the might thing doesn't trigger. It's just so it does work with what I was trying to say. So yeah, it does still work with that because they still get the +1 because they're in a different zone when you banish them.
Yeah, so for the audio only people out there, so No Fear is an instant. It's a brute instant, costs 0, it's red. And then as additional costs to play this, you banish any number of cards with 6 or more attack from your hand. At the beginning of the end phase, you get them back. So if you use this on your opponent's turn, you get them back. If you use it on your turn for whatever reason, you get them back. And it says, the next time you would be dealt damage this turn, prevent X of that damage, where X is 2 plus a number of cards banished this way. So it's kind of like a catch-all damage prevention kind of effect. Can prevent literally any kind of damage, which is really cool. Arcane, physical, even those other cards that just say deal damage, it can prevent that too, which is pretty cool. And on the base level, this is like a 0 cost prevent 2, which actually you can prevent like the reckless swing damage, which is kind of funny.
In the brute mirror.
Yeah. And I also wanted to read off, just in case people didn't know what Beat Chest does, because we mentioned Beat Chest. Beat Chest is a new mechanic, and I think it's actually really, really important for the next hero we're going to talk about. Well, assuming we're going to talk about Rhinar next. But Beat Chest says, as additional cost to play this, you may discard a card with 6 or more attack. This is not a random discard. This is a selected discard. So you get to choose what card you're discarding. It has to be at least one with 6 attack. And so for an example of a card, here's Bonebreaker Bellow, which is a 1-drop 3-block brute action that has Go Again and Beat Chest. And it says your next brute attack this turn gets +3. If you've beaten Chest this turn, it instead gets +5. So this is kind of cool because it's one of those brute cards that cares about you discarding a card. However, unlike some of the ones in Welcome to Wraith, it still does something if you don't discard. So if you don't do the beat Chest, it still will give you that +3. And it blocks for 3 too. So I think Beat Chest is a pretty good mechanic. I think it's them realizing that maybe the random mechanics of brute kind of hampered the class a little bit, and they're kind of, alleviating that a little bit here.
Yeah, it's nice because obviously it still sort of treads on the same thing of discarding 6s. But it's more selective. So if you want to try and do the high rolly thing with the random cards of old, you can still do that, or you can try and smooth it over with a lot of these new ones that are ultimately coming out. It's giving people the option to play it in either a more consistent way or a high rolly way. We've seen some people like Levi. I know this is different, but Levi's success with like Man Sant and stuff. The people can sort of navigate the variants, but there is now potentially a way to play brute more consistently with the selective discard. It does make the class a lot more interesting for people that are like, oh, brute's not consistent enough because you're die rolling or too much variance. Now there's a different way to play it by beating your chest aggressively.
That's probably going to be the main sort of word that we'll use to describe, like we as in the community, I think, moving forward, are going to be using to describe this new KO, which is consistent. I feel like this one is going to be a much more consistent style of brute, which will also probably be a much more defensive style as well. That's just my first impressions. Obviously, we haven't seen most of the cards, but the idea behind what the Intimidate wants to do and how you're kind of setting up for your next turn with the Might token, Feels like you're going to be playing for next turn. You're going to be playing for the longer game. And the fact that they don't have to change Intimidate at all to do that, and it will still function exactly like as intended, as they need it to, I think is really interesting. I like that Intimidate, just changing what turn it happens on, changes the mechanic almost entirely, and turns it from an offensive mechanic into a defensive one. I think that's really, really cool.
Yep, we'll see. We'll see if they do that, but we're definitely getting a lot of offensive Intimidate as well in this set.
It's true, yeah. I don't think they're going to be straying too far away from the core conceit of Brute, especially because they have Rhinar in the same set. Rhinar is not going to be defensive still. I think that Rhinar is still going to be an offensive hero. Because, yeah, his Intimidate specifically only triggers on your turn. Although something I will want to mention as well, Skullcrack, I think, is the only card that doesn't work with, or it doesn't get its own effect off of Beat Chest. Because Skullcrack is specifically when this is discarded at random.
Yeah, there's a couple other ones that also care about discarding at random too. I think
for some reason I'm thinking like Massacre as well maybe is at random. I'm just looking that up, but yeah, it's, let's see.
Yeah.
No, it's just when it's discarded to pay the cost of a Brute attack action. So as an additional cost, still triggers. Yep. Very good.
That's the thing, though. As you say, it's like you got all the old Brute cards, and now you've got all the new ones. So you can mix and match. People are going to figure out what's best in that. But it's just going to be nice to see a more consistent and potentially defensive Brute. I know I like how you were sort of on the same wavelength as to what I was thinking with defensive Kayo.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure Ian, Right Time Gaming, will give us the masterclass on what the best thing to do is with Kayo.
He already messaged me today after watching my video and talked about some Leviatech of some of the cards that I talked about. So you guys are talking about the defensive Brute. Well, here, let's talk about the pure offensive Brute. I want to mention a card, and I think this is a good segue to Rhinar specifically. This is Rawhide Rumble. So this is a 2-cost, 6-attack, 3-block red Brute card. It has Beat Chest, and it says, when this attacks a hero, if you've beaten Chest this turn, intimidate them. So if you are playing as Rhinar, this is a rare, by the way, so it's a full cycle. Yellow is a 5-attack, blue is a 4-attack. This is a 2-intimidate card off of a single discard with Rhinar, because you get that Beat Chest, discard a 6-attack, and then you get a Rhinar trigger to get another Intimidate. So this is Intimidate 2 off of a single discard if you're playing Rhinar. And Rhinar feels like what I'm going to call maybe the Horde Breaker Brute of the set, in that he really gets around like fatigue piles. He has built-in evasion and ways to push damage through, other than just going purely tall. Which, I mean, I'm sure he can go very tall as well. But I like having evasive mechanics like this in limited formats. It really helps prevent, once again, fatigue piles. We saw that kind of pretty, a lot in previous limited sets in Flesh and Blood. And I think it's a problem just kind of like inherent in Flesh and Blood Limited. Maybe not a problem. I'll call it. I'll be generous and call it a feature of Flesh and Blood Limited. And I think including heroes that have built-in evasion is really important for that. And we'll mention that when we get to Betsy as well. But here's Rhinar. I have Rhinar up with his new art for the adult majestic version, but it's literally just Rhinar. I don't remember if we joked about this on the podcast. Might have been during the holiday special, but it also might have just been in a private call. But we were joking like, oh yeah, Rhinar's gonna come back, but it's just gonna be a straight reprint of Rhinar again. And
I'm pretty sure we did. I'm pretty sure we made that joke.
Well,
yeah.
Here it is Rhinar again. I'll give my quick thoughts on it since I'm already talking, and then I'll toss it to you guys and see what you guys think. I made a tweet about this. I mentioned this in my video too. But I totally understand where a lot of Brute fans are coming from when they're a little bit disappointed in the Rhinar reprint, because we did get a Rhinar reprint in Classic Battles alongside a shiny new Dorinthia, and now we're getting another Rhinar reprint alongside shiny new versions of Kayo and Kasai. And so I kind of understand where a lot of Brute fans are coming from with like, hey, where's my new Rhinar? But at the same time, I think it's actually kind of cool that we get to play with Rhinar in a new light with all new support for him. And I think it's kind of cool to breathe new life into one of the literal original 4 heroes for the game. So I definitely understand where people are coming from, and I would be lying if I wasn't saying that I wish it was a new version. But at the same time, I think it's kind of cool that we get to play with the OG version in a new way. And I haven't mentioned this before in the other places. My favorite hero to draft in WTR is Rhinar. I don't really play him in Constructed, but for whatever reason, I really like Rhinar in Limited. And I've piloted him to pretty good success in Limited, partially because people underestimate him and I get past some like absolute fire. But yeah, that's my little spiel on Rhinar. What do you guys think?
I am also very excited. I think that it is unfortunate that the Brute fans don't get a new version of Rhinar to play with, but also I think that the fact that they can just straight up reprint him and he doesn't feel underpowered in any way, like he feels like he's, even if it was a new hero right now, he would still probably fit in with everything that's going on. Intimidate is still a really strong mechanic, basically no matter how you slice it, especially now that they're implementing it in sort of different ways. I think that he's a winning formula. I think that like Brute is just good. I think that he's pretty future-proofed as well. Like I said, with him just saying when you discard a card during your action phase with 6 or more attack, instead of it having to be a random discard or anything like that. Like I think he's just good. I think that Rhinar is just a good hero. So I'm happy to see him back. Honestly, I think he's a good old boy. he's putting in his hours.
Like
look at the size of that back as well. It's just like wow.
Yeah. Also, his new art is great. I'm really big.
Yeah. I will also say it would have been cool to also get new young art. We're getting the young art is the art from Classic Battles. That is also kind of a bummer as well. But I will say that I agree with Bill. And also, like, the new beat chest mechanic feels like I don't want to say a fixed, but it feels like a much more consistent way to trigger Rhinar, which is really good. And, it looks like a lot of fun. Well, fun for you as the Rhinar player. We'll see how fun it is for the other player when they don't get a block at all. But, we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. Yeah.
I personally think this is great because as an Azalea player who did not get a new Azalea hero in Outsiders, it's the same hero, but obviously, the limited card pool that we've seen so far, it just hints at the fact that this hero is going to change, not as a result of his hero, he needs a new hero, but the new card support that he's going to get is going to make him much more consistent. And Intimidate is vile to try and block, trying to block Brute attacks is just not very nice. So if they're trying to make it more consistent with the Intimidate, that is not going to be, that's not going to be easy to play against. Rhinar's not easy to play against anyway right now, let alone with all this new support where he can consistently get Intimidate with the card selection of, discarding card that he wants to rather than randomly. I'm just quite scared of what Rhinar's going to be able to do, considering the fact that he has not been reprinted as a different version. So yeah, I think they're rolling with the original design, and the beat chest is just we've only seen it in its barest form, no pun intended, bare chest way. And we're going to be speaking about some bare chests in a minute with Betsy, but let's get onto that in a moment. But yeah, I respect Rhinar a lot, and can't wait to see what other cards they're going to get in this one.
Okay, question time for both you guys and the audience. Over under on Rhinar Demi Hero in Heavy Hitters. Go.
I would love that. Personally, I would love that.
Like Demi Hero. What would you do though?
I mean, it could do a lot of stuff.
How likely do I think? How likely do I think that it
is? Yeah. Over under. Do you think there's a more likely chance or a less likely chance that we get a Rhinar Demi Hero in Heavy Hitters? Seeing that we're getting a Rhinar just straight up reprint, it feels, to me personally, it feels more likely that we're getting a Demi Hero because we are getting a straight reprint, because that feels more exciting. I think that you have the original and then you get a way to augment the original, same like what they did with Levia, right? You get Levia, and then you
Maybe.
get a way to augment them.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think Demi Heroes are obviously very popular, and they're a big splashy card, aren't they? And they've come out in the last 2 sets. Is
Yep,
that right?
we have
The
had
last 2?
one each in the last 2 sets. So
So
I don't
maybe
want
it's a trend.
to. Yeah, I don't want to say it's a trend yet, because they could just do whatever they want and just not do it for like 4 sets in a row or something. We don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be interesting to see if we're right or wrong, depending on your choice here. In a couple of weeks when we know the full set.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say is under. I don't know what this American thing is, but I would bet against Rhinar not having a Demi Hero in the set.
So you think there's a lower chance that he's in Demi Heroes in the set?
Yeah, I would say no, that he's not going to get one.
I'm gonna go the opposite. I think there's a chance.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with Az. I just don't know what they would do with it. I would be interested to see it, and I would love just more Demi Heroes. I think they create an interesting play pattern. Especially if it's something modular like Levia's, where you can have basically 2 separate end games. But yeah, I'm just not sure. I think because it's not a real pattern yet is the reason that I'm hesitant to say that there will be one. But yeah, I guess that unless I'm really, really good at hiding it, that rules out me having a Demi Hero as my my spoiler cards.
Let's be honest. If it existed and was going to be a spoiler, none of us would get it, because none of us are like brute players. It's gonna they'd give it to like a brute diehard.
Yeah.
I could see a Demi Hero being like some sort of like, this is me like playing a lot of other like digital card games, because these are effects that you'd see in digital card games. So like if you've beaten chest 15 times this game, then you can do the Rhinar Pits Lord of the Pits, or Lord of the Arena, and then he's got like maybe some crazy attack buff or something. I don't know.
He's just like, whenever you intimidate, your next attack gets +3.
Like whenever you intimidate again or something. Like, I don't know.
Oh, dearie me.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you had to have like beaten chest like 15 times or something.
So you need like a beaten chest counter, like on your battlefield.
If your chest is beaten red, then you may evolve Rhinar into Rhinar, Lord of the Arena,
his primal form.
Yeah,
Lord of the Red Chest.
Oh man.
But I don't know. Like the Demi Hero was the Fabled, wasn't it?
No, it was just a legendary.
There was a Marvel. Yeah, there was a Marvel version of it that's hard to get. Same with the Levia Demi Hero.
Yeah. They were both They were both non-foil legendaries, and then the foil version was the Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm thinking of landmarks, because I'm thinking of heavy hitters. I'm thinking of what if the arena could be the Fabled? If the arena's in play. That
one I'm willing to bet the over on. I think that's going to be it, and that's maybe just pure copium.
I think
I
pure
want
copium.
Landmarks back, baby. I want Landmarks back. I think they're sweet.
This is
Imagine this as well.
Every single set since Tales of Aria, which has been like 2 years ago. Everyone's like,
long time.
Surely we have the next landmark. It's gotta be it's gotta be like a cool landmark in metrics. It's gotta be Blackjack's Tavern, and it's like never any of that.
I love how Bill's like, I'll go over on this one. Landmarks coming back in heavy hitters. But yeah, I thought it could be cool, because obviously this set is the landmark. It is a landmark. It's a deathmatch arena. What if when you play the landmark into the battlefield, all attacks, like all players get +1 on their attack or something?
I was thinking flavor-wise, like every attack lets you wager. Like every player gets to wager on an attack. I think that, like, because you're in the arena, everyone's betting. I don't know.
Everyone's betting.
That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. That'd be epic. And you could even have the shanty that they got people to sing as the flavor text.
Yeah.
So it's just an all-win situation. But hey
My-
ho.
So mine for that, a landmark in the set. I would like it to happen. I'm under on that one though. I think there's a less likely chance.
Yeah.
I also don't think what a lot of people are guessing is going to be true either. There's a lot of people I see on like social media who are like, oh, it's going to be like a brute gem that when you pitch it, you like make a gold or you intimidate them. And I'm like, no, dude, they're not doing that.
Oh,
They
On
did
pitch intimidate would be busted.
they did plague high.
I'd say it.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I can't see a like a gem or something being in heavy hitters.
Oh, I could
as
definitely
as a fabled.
I could definitely see it as like the prize of the arena. Like it would be
Maybe.
like the
Yeah.
Champions Cup or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Because like,
Yeah.
would you have guessed the master cog for like metrics? Like
Very true.
I don't know
No.
if anyone would have guessed the master cog as like the thing for metrics. So who
No,
knows?
Probably not.
Yeah. I'm
But,
I just think it would be like if anybody thinks that it's a possibility that they would ever print like on pitch intimidate and it would be on the same level as other gems.
No.
There is a legendary that allows you to intimidate on your opponent's turn exactly one time throughout the entire game. They would not allow you to do it more than once at any point of the game. Like
I think so.
that's too strong. It would be
I-
way too good.
I think the same is true for gold as well. On pitch credit gold, like I don't think they're gonna make Fabled more powerful than Eye of Ophidia, and making a gold I think is more powerful than Opt 2.
And Scry
So,
too. Yeah.
yeah.
Opt to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Scry. Whoops.
Yeah, because I think Eye of Ophidia is like just raw power level. I think it's the strongest one. And
say
I
so, too.
I don't think they're gonna print one stronger than that. So yeah, and they're definitely not gonna make a red one to just like super juice Dromai or something.
Yeah.
Oh no! Get out of here!
Yeah,
Get out
so-
of here! You Tome of Imperial Flames. But speaking of strong things, we've got another hero called Betsy, skin in the game, or just Betsy. So this is a new Guardian hero. So we are still waiting for the other Guardian hero. And just before we get into Betsy, what do we think? Any speculations as to what the last Guardian is? My speculation, I'll throw it out there beforehand, is the blonde sort of armored gold-looking gentleman that was on the 1.5 million prize pool graphic. Have you seen that?
yeah, I know what
looks
you're
like-
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, so that looks like a hero to me. I could be completely wrong, but I reckon that could be a Guardian hero. That one there.
I would want the hero from like Mangle and Righteous Cleansing personally.
That's oh, what's his name? He has a name. It's
Isn't
it's
it like
like-
it starts with an H or something, right?
it's on the tip of my tongue. I thought it was like Lord something or Commander something. He's got a name like, oh crap. Let me look it up.
Yeah, he's like a named hero, and he has like the sickest axe of all time.
Jarl Vatrady.
Yes, that is
yes,
it. Yeah,
yes. Jarl,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jarl.
Yeah, that would be the hero that I want. But the meme answer in me is Bravo star of every show. He just shows up. He shows up
Wow.
at the death
Oh
match,
my
and he's just
God.
like, "Ah, this is mine too."
Oh,
Alright.
in the same pose as well, in the same pose, but with an arena in the background instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god!
all right.
Please no.
This is the answer that I think most people in the community would say, and I think there's a good reason for it, and I hope it's true, but I'm not sure if it's true, and that would be Valda. I think a lot of people are hoping for Valda.
Valda, yeah.
Because you have a cycle of returning heroes with new cards. We have one for Warrior, Kasai. We have one for Brute, Kayo. We don't have one yet for Guardian. Maybe they made it a cycle, and we get a returning Guardian hero with a new version. And I think Valda would fit it the most. And she seems like the kind of person who would just show up to the pit fight, like to the arena, just to beat up people for fun.
Just to crush some skulls.
So like, I think it fits her
Absolutely.
character. I think it fits the theme and the kind of the thing that they're doing. And also I like Valda, and it'd be cool to see Valda come back. So I'm gonna give the easy answer and say Valda. The non-easy answer would be something cool like what Bill said, like a hero they haven't used yet, or a brand new hero entirely.
Yeah.
But
if you think about it as well, like what is Valda doing? If you look on her, it's not a specialization card, but Cranial Crush is, you know, signifying Valda is cracking someone's skull. And on the flavor text, it says, "Leave now, or a hangover will be the least of your worries." What are people doing in heavy hitters? They're all getting pissed. They're all getting drunk. They're all doing wagers and what have you. So maybe Valda is there just to sort of quell the drunken arseholes
Maybe.
that are just, you know, like me, just getting on it till 5 a.m.
So we do know lore-wise, Valda, it was in Aria. And she was like in that tavern, and I forget the name of the tavern, but she was in that tavern in Aria, like beating at people. So I don't know, maybe Az is right. Maybe she's like, I don't know, moved locations. Maybe Aria's a little too nippy for her, and she's like, oh, now that the veil is down or whatever, she can like go travel and do stuff. And now she's at the the whatever the Coliseum is called.
Just hanging around in the bar, just making sure people don't get rowdy, otherwise their skulls get crushed. You know.
Just
that's a good
Barfate,
shot.
you know?
Just bouncer turned pit fighter Volda. Yeah,
absolutely. That's a good shout. Actually, I completely forgot about Valda being a guardian hero, which is obviously only available as a young hero, and previously we only had Kayo available as a young brute. So that could be
we had
could be
Kasai as a young warrior.
And Kasai, it would complete the cycle. It makes sense.
Cool.
We'll see.
Well, what I said about my hero choice, just forget I ever said that. Valda is what I'm going with.
I think Valda. I think Valda's the easy guess. And also it would make sense why they're saving her for last, because they started off with Kasai, because Kasai I would think is one of the most like hype ones, and it would make sense for them to finish off with another super hype one, right? And you know, Kayo's pretty cool, but I think a lot of people get really stoked to see Valda again.
And the fact that Volda also cares about crush attacks as well could also actually sort of be quite relevant in this set, 'cause it's all about heavy hitters, and if you deal so much damage to them, you're going to get a crush effect, and you know, and wagering and buffing your attacks and all this. And there was actually a weird seismic surge token card printed in Bright Lights, I think, where it's just like pay X, you get X seismic surges. And if your seismic surges crack, then you get a dominate on your crush attacks. So there has been some weird seismic surge things floating in. So maybe that is another support theory for that. But that being said, we are going to find out what that is very soon. But Betsy is the guardian that has been revealed so far. I'll read this one out. So again, as I think you said it in your video actually, Kel, that I watched earlier, but all these heroes have the same stat lines. None of them are different, so I'll just say that Betsy is exactly the same stat lines. But whenever an attack you control wagers, you may pay 2. If you do, the attack gets +1 and overpower. So it's like a weaker Bravo effect, but obviously it gives you a +1. So that can also screw up, as I was talking about earlier, crush attacks. Crush attacks, if they get higher power, the crush effects might actually trigger. So crush effects might be cool in Betsy because you're also giving them evasion with overpower, but you're also giving them an actual +1, whereas Bravo just cared about dominating. He wasn't actually giving a little bit of a buff behind it, whereas Betsy is. So crush attacks might, get that little bit of extra damage through when you need it, if you wager it correctly. Actually, no, it just says when you wager it, you may pay 2. So you don't even have to win the wager. You just pay 2 while you're attacking with a wager attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't even have to win the wager, but still.
It helps you win the wager because it gives it overpower.
It makes it harder to block it effectively.
Yeah,
and wager just counts. Just cares about if the attack hits.
Yep.
Like, it isn't like crush in that it needs to have X amount of damage dealt. So even if you're just getting that 1 damage in, then that lets you win the wager. So I think that's pretty strong too.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I like that she has built-in evasion. Like I said, I think it's really good for limited formats to have heroes with built-in evasion, so you can actually close out games and not have like big fatigue piles. Though I will say this, I've mentioned this a few times. Betsy literally does nothing if you're not wagering. If you have no wager cards or anything, she doesn't do anything at all. And I'm curious as to how you guys feel about that. How do you guys feel about a hero that doesn't do anything at all unless you have the mechanic of the set that only appears in that set and nowhere else?
We do kind of have that already with Arachne. I forget what the title of them is, but the Arachne that cares about stealth cards.
Yes.
Solitary.
Yeah, solitary confinement. So yeah, we do technically have a hero like that already, and that I think might even be a good place to start thinking about it from, because solitary confinement is their own hero without much help from the existing card pool.
Even other Arachne only cares about contract cards.
Contract cards. Yeah.
But
and they have printed more contract stuff.
Here's the key difference for me between the two. Contract and stealth feel like class mechanics, where wager feels like a set mechanic, right? It feels to me like contract and stealth could easily be reprinted in literally any set that has assassin in it, where wager does not feel like it's an easily reprintable mechanic outside of heavy hitters. That's a good
point, actually.
That's the key difference for me. Whereas like that's why I consider wager more of like a parasitic mechanic, because we have Olympia to talk about later as well, and he's the exact same way. If you don't have wager, he literally does nothing. And my concern is like, how often are they going to reprint wager cards to support these heroes that only care about wager? I don't know. And like, I think like looking at it now on the micro level, you're like, okay, that's fine. Like they have wager cards in the set. They could reprint wager cards or make more wager cards and like the what do you call it? The the expansion slot. But if they keep doing stuff like this, then it leads to like a situation where you have a ton of heroes with this parasitic mechanic, and it can be really difficult to print support for them in the future. And perhaps that's what they want. Perhaps that's what they want, like a large card pool of heroes with very limited mechanics. I don't know, but like if the next set has a heroes with parasitic mechanics, and then the next set, and then the next set, and the next set, it's going to be really hard to print support for all of them. Anyway,
yeah, it's a problem when you design for booster draft or limited. You have to have these sets that feel contained within those formats. So it's going to feel great in limited and sealed because you're playing with the mechanics against the other heroes that care about it, and it's designed for. But for constructed, it is weird because if you really like this hero, you like Betsy, for instance. Getting into this, that the only cards that you're ever going to be able to really use to synergize with your hero are from this set and this set only. So you know that you're never going to get any other support unless we go all the way back to Deathmatch Arena again, where it's going to be wagering, and you're just going to be sat there for ages as a person that might gravitate towards Betsy for whatever reason. I know I definitely do, but you're not gonna get that support like a generic Ranger would or generic like Guardian would.
Yeah, I think Bravo is the easiest comparison here because Bravo has a similar mechanic, right? And Bravo's mechanic you can do with any Guardian cards. You just do it.
Exactly.
And so every time you get a Guardian card, it can go in Bravo and works with this hero ability. Whereas Betsy, no.
No. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a strange one. I mean, the pro I see it, the sort of the positive I see about this is that it creates really interesting dark horse and rogue decks that might come back to plague a certain meta where nobody is wanting wager cards, so you could just turn up with a wager deck that then just absolutely rinses on people that aren't using 6 power attacks or whatever, or high power attacks. So it does lend itself to that cool scenario where you could just be playing in a meta that's dominated by heroes, and then suddenly a Betsy comes out of nowhere, just wagering left, right, and centre. Nobody wants to bet with her, and she smashes her way to, you know, a top 8 or whatever. It could be an interesting story bit, or a thread to sort of lean on if you're doing the casting and coverage and what have you, and seeing those rogue decks come through. But yeah, if you were getting into the game now as, oh yeah, I love Betsy, I want to play, this is the first hero I've seen and she resonates with me because of whatever reason. She's got a massive creature on her back that she's slain out of brute force. You know that you're not going to get any cards for a while because Wager is just unique to heavy hitters and heavy hitters only. It's a weird thing to try and digest, I think.
Yeah. I can't help but wonder if we're going to see design like this a lot more going forward, and less design like OG Bravo, like more hyper-specific stuff, less just generically good type things. And since they're going to be printing apparently a lot of new heroes going forward, I can't help but wonder if this is going to be a trend we see. It's something I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on, because stuff like this just really stands out to me in any card game. Just things that have like these parasitic mechanics. And famously in Magic, I don't want to talk too much about Magic, but stuff like this is usually not great. I listen to Mark Rosewater talk about design a lot, and a lot of the times he talks about regrets in design is when they have parasitic mechanics that don't do anything outside of the set, and then no one wants to play them. I think the original Kamigawa block was awful with this. It was like rife with this. So we'll see. This is just kind of like a we'll wait and see, because it's like, you know, the beginning of a new design philosophy. But anyway, go ahead.
Exactly, and when we have Brian on as well, again, which I'm sure we will do after Heavy Hitters releases, this is something we can pose to him as well about this. But yeah, going back to Magic, I had a similar situation with Ikoria, Lair of the Behemoths, when Mutate was a mechanic that we never saw again. We never saw it after that.
Yep.
I built a whole commander deck around this one character that had Mutate, and I was like, oh yeah, this is sick. But I should have known the foresight that I would never see Mutate again, because it was to that set and that set only. And that's, funnily enough, when I started getting out of Magic was when that happened. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens from here. But I think it could be cool to see, as Flesh and Blood is currently powering down, and all of the broken stuff is getting out of the way, and Brian's on board with the development and stuff. These new heroes, this might be the way design goes, that every hero is just contained within their own thing, and everyone's doing a deck differently, perhaps. I don't know. Yeah,
in Heavy Hitters itself, we see a bit of both, right? Because I think Kasai is just generally very strong. And this might be a little bit of a hot take, but just as printed, I think Kasai might be the most powerful warrior yet. Like, just printed.
Yeah.
She seems very, very good.
Allies.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, her specialization does the allies, but she has cost reduction built into it, and she also has ways to generate card advantage, and she just has like a lot of stuff going for her that I think is very, very good. But we have, you know, heroes like Betsy, and then we'll talk about Olympia later, which is like, I don't know, like.
Yeah, well, it's good that we've talked about the heroes this way, because again, if somebody wants to read out Olympia, this is exactly the same situation.
Yeah, I'll pull him up.
Olympia does nothing outside of wagering. He's a blank hero unless you do the wager thing.
Yeah, here we go. So, Olympia, prized fighter / Olympia, is a warrior hero.
Yeah. 4
intellect, 40 health, 20 health for blitz. And the first time each of your attacks wins a wager, create a gold token. So it is extremely parasitic, with it literally doing nothing, like's been said, without wagering. But something to note for this is it's just the first time each of your attacks wins a wager, not the first time each turn.
Yeah.
The reason that they did this is because you can have multiple wagers on a single attack.
Oh yeah.
So you wouldn't get a gold token for each one.
His own specialization wagers 3 times if you want.
Yeah. So the effect itself, like, objectively is quite strong.
It's strong in the confines of its own thing, I guess you could say. Well,
Yeah, like the effect of
maybe.
what it is, I think is strong. I think also specifically because he's a warrior, and warriors historically have the ability to get through even just one damage. And like we were saying for wagers, one damage is all you need. So
I
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna reserve. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. I'm not gonna say it's strong yet. If wager is strong, then the effect is strong. I'll say that. If
Yeah.
the wager thing is strong, then it's strong. It seems like they're putting a lot of effort into making it good though, so it's likely pretty good. And I think it obviously pairs really well with previous mechanics like cash-in, right?
Mhm.
Olympia, and also Kasai with cash-in is like seems very very good. So yeah, there's
Yeah,
that.
cash in turns a one wager into draw two cards for free. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Unlike like Arachne Silver, I think it's going to be a lot easier to get gold with Olympia, and I mean Kasai is guaranteed gold because Kasai, if you remember, you just banish cards. It's just a once per turn action of banish 2 red and 2 yellow, and then the next time a weapon you control hits a hero this turn, you get a gold, and that's not like your weapon gains the next time it hits this turn. It's just like the next time a weapon hits, so it's kind of like the plunder run type of effect where it's just like you do it, and as long as you hit with a weapon this turn, you get the gold. So yeah.
Yeah. What going back on the Paris?
Go buy your cash-ins anyway.
Oh god, yeah. In this particular situation, it's just a sacrifice. It's just a draw 2 cards, go again. In a lot of
pot of greed.
these. Yeah,
It is. Yeah, it's a pot of greed. You give 3 of in your deck.
It's pretty good. But backtracking on Parasitic again, another pro for this sort of situation is that every hero is going to have one of those turns where you're like, okay, this is a strange, unique turn that this hero is going to hit me with, because each time Olympia hits me, he's going to get a gold token every time you wager and get you know. And what does that mean? That means you can cash in next turn, or you can cash in later on, etc. It means that there's a lot more unique interactions between matchups, and also as a result of that, potentially more variance as well, which again has been one thing that a lot of developers have sort of spoken for. They want to have more of is variance. So maybe these sort of AKA parasitic heroes could be a good thing for increasing that variance, perhaps. But yeah, it's like a fighting game, as the comparison has been drawn, where you need to know what the other hero you're playing against, what their ultimate move is, which is going to be different to anybody else's ultimate move. So yeah, that's also a good thing, I guess, the fact that these heroes are so unique. But again, the card support is only in this set, so that's the negative. But we'll see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah, I am very excited to play with these heroes in limited. That's my personal takeaway. In draft and sealed, I think these are going to be super super fun, especially in the new UPF limited thing that they're doing. Is, if you don't know, they're doing a UPF limited thing where you have an eight person pod and you do a draft, and then you split the pod into 4-player UPF groups, and then the winners of those UPF groups battle one-on-one at the very final to see who wins their pod. I think it's freaking awesome.
That sounds fun.
I think it's rad as hell, and I want to do like a modified version of that in for like content. Like I'm gonna round up maybe Az and Bill and DiMarmata or Steven or someone and do like a 4-player maybe sealed UPF thing with heavy hitters. I think that'd be super super cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
It'd just be so much fun. I definitely want to try to put that together, by the way. But well, we haven't mentioned it yet. The card borders. The card borders on Olympia and just to get into the flavor stuff, Olympia and Betsy, rad as hell. It's this very like gladiatorial Roman-esque card border, and I think it's pretty obvious that it's because they're the wager heroes, right? They're the heroes that are from the
they reside
from the deathmatch arena.
Yeah.
So I just think that is cool, but yeah, I think it's important to note the potentially parasitic nature of the heroes.
Yeah, I think it's something that hasn't really been mentioned yet either. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what all the new cards bring to the table for the constructed side of it, because again, they're new heroes. They've got new mechanics, which is all exciting to begin with. But how far does that go afterwards? Is the concern that that a lot of us have by the looks of it. But yeah, obviously there's Kasai as well, which we've touched on previous podcasts. Yeah, we've seen all of our specializations and stuff already, which we spoke about already.
Oh,
but
yeah, I can read off Kasai real quick, just in case anyone doesn't know. I mentioned her already. I think she is very, very strong just as printed. Just even in a vacuum, she has a really, really powerful hero abilities. So Kasai is same stats as we talked before. She has basically 2 abilities. The first one is if you've drawn a card this turn, your sword attacks cost 1 less to activate. Pretty good. So if you've drawn a card at all, she has a cost reduction on all of her sword attacks. And then it says once per turn action, banish 2 red and 2 yellow cards from your graveyard. You know, blood on the sands. Love the flavor there. The next time a weapon you control hits a hero this turn, create a gold token, go again. So she really wants you to play a lot of reds and yellows and then draw cards, which you do from your gold tokens. Most notably on this card, she doesn't have a built-in way to give her sword attacks go again. So you're going to need to find a way to give your sword attacks go again. But at least in Heavy Hitters Limited, it seems like they're printing a lot of ways to do so for future turns through the agility tokens. There's a lot of warrior stuff that make agility tokens between wagering or cards like Agile Windup, which I'm going to pull up here, which is it's part of a cycle. It's a 3 cost, 7 attack, 2 block. This one in particular is a Brute Warrior action attack, so you can use this in Warrior or Brute. And it has instant, discard this, create an agility token. And that means you discard it from hand. You cannot discard this from the combat chain, as some people have seen. You can't like attack with it and discard it on the combat chain. No, this is discarded from hand. But it does create an agility token, and it feels like they're really baking that into the set, like giving ways to get your weapons go again. And this is kind of like a cycle. There's a few of these, like you discard it, create a vigor token, discard it, create a might token. They're all 3 for 7s, 2 blocks. And like I mentioned before, there's a lot of 3 for 7s in this set. It feels like they were like, oh, maybe we should, iterate on this Wounded Bull kind of design here. And it feels like that they're kind of playing in that territory here. Here's another one. Here's Mighty Windup. This one is the Might one. This is the Brute Guardian one. 3 for 7, 2 block, discard it, create a Might. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then,
nice.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say something that I forgot to mention when we were talking about Kayo is the flavor behind him getting dishonored, which I'm sure people have talked to death about at this point. But for those of you who are unaware, Dishonor is a ninja combo attack that, if you jump through a couple hoops, blanks your opponent's hero, like removes their hero ability for the rest of the game. And obviously Kayo's, one of his abilities is that he only has 1 arm. So he would go back to having 2 weapon slots, and ergo, if he gets dishonored, he grows an arm back.
He's
that's hilarious.
He's Piccolo from Dragon Ball. He's gonna grow his arm back. Boom.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. And then also, because I remember Az was talking about Shiana, if a Shiana becomes a KO armed and dangerous, or just KO, she loses an arm. And
How does
so she
that-
has to drop her 2-handed weapon.
So how does that actually work mechanically? Like,
As far as I know,
does your Talishar get destroyed or something?
I think it gets destroyed because it's no longer an applicable weapon for you. I don't know what the actual ruling for it is, because I don't think that exists in the rules yet.
Yeah,
Like,
weird.
it becomes a card that you could not have put into your deck during deck construction.
I mean, like, I can also see it be like, they're like, well, since it's already there, it doesn't get removed. I'm very curious to see what the official ruling of this is. Like,
but
what happens when you lose
the flavor
an arm
of it is
mid
the
fight?
flavor of it is she sheds an arm like a lizard might.
Oh, dude, okay. Now that's opened up, that idea's opened up so much crazy design space of cards that are like, on hit, your opponent permanently loses an arm or something like that. Kind of like Dishonor.
Wow.
You maybe have to jump through like a million hoops, but if you do it, you make them lose an arm.
That'd be brilliant.
That's wild.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's something I wanted to point out as well. Just the immense flavor of Kayo and his rules text.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, there's a couple other random cards that I do kind of want to mention really quickly that we kind of skipped over. So like, there's Betsy specialization, bet big. Of course, Betsy's going to be betting big. And it's interesting just because it's a 4-cost 8 attack. It says when it attacks a hero, you can wager a gold, might, and vigor with your opponent. If you don't know what wager means, by the way, it's you basically put that token up for grabs. And so if you hit them, you get that token. But if you don't hit them, they get the token. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to necessarily wager everything, because if you fail to do it, then your opponent gets it. So this is kind of cool. You wager and then you get all 3 if you hit. And Betsy's own hero ability makes this would give this a +1 and give it overpower. So it would be a 6-cost 9 attack overpower, get all these tokens, which is pretty cool. I think that seems pretty good for limited.
You pitch 2 blues to do that, don't you? You pitch a blue for the Betsy ability and then another blue for the 4 attack. And then you're coming in for 9 overpower.
Seems pretty good.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, which is a pretty decent rate, all things considered.
Yeah.
2 for 9.
And then there's the Olympia specialization, which is an attack reaction, which is a blue 3-block X cost that says choose X +1, and it says target attack wagers an agility or gold or vigor, or target attack gets +Y, where Y is the number of times it has wagered. So like you can pay 3 and do all of these effects, right? Because it's X +1. So for 3, you give your attack +3, and then the ability to create all of these tokens, plus an extra gold from Olympia's hero effect, which is also pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you'd create 2 gold, agility, and a vigor, which not too bad. I very curious to see what weapons they're gonna put in, especially for the heroes. Come on, give us another big axe. In the art, he's wielding 2 swords. In the up the ante art, the specialization for him. In his own art, he doesn't have any weapons. Same is true for Betsy. In her own art, she doesn't have any weapons. She's just kind of like wagging her finger in one of them, and the other one she's just kind of chilling on a beast. So
yeah,
I want to see
her weapon is Kayo's arm.
Oh yeah,
Kayo's other arm.
Yeah,
Bro.
Kayo's other arm. People have been memeing that Kayo's one-handed weapon is going to be his literal one hand. But I think it would be even funnier if it was somebody else's weapon. Somebody who ripped off his arm is using it to bludgeon other people.
In both of Kayo's arts, he is using the mandible claws. So, I mean, there's a chance that we see mandible claws reprinted, possibly as the token. Rhinar, in Rhinar's new art, he's using Romping Club, and in his new specialization, Show No Mercy, he's also using Romping Club. So we might see good old Romping Club come back. We didn't talk about Rhinar's spec. It's called Show No Mercy. It's a 3-cost, 6 attack brute action, blocks for 3, or brute attack action. When it attacks a hero, intimidate them, and then if the defending hero has no cards in hand, this gets +3. So if you've successfully intimidated their entire hand, this is 3 for 9, which is like, it's not too bad. I'm not sure how this compares.
Another Alpha Rampage.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this compares exactly to Alpha Rampage, but it seems pretty good.
And does Alpha Rampage cost? Does Alpha Rampage cost 3 as well? Does it?
Yeah,
it's a 3 for 9.
Yep, exactly. I think Alpha Rampage is a 3 for 9. When you attack with it, you have to discard. You discard a random card, and then
discard a random card, and then it has Intimidate as well.
Yeah.
So it intimidates twice.
If you hit, if you hit with the
is Alpha Rampage an additional cost, so you have to discard the thing as a cost.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it is an additional cost.
So with this, you don't have additional cost. So again, that's the upside of this one, is that you don't have to do the additional cost. So I think with Alpha Rampage, you need at least 2 cards, one to play it and then one to discard it. Is that right?
Yep.
And then the ideal line is you intimidate them once off Rhinar and then once off Alpha Rampage. So you intimidate 2 for 9. Yeah, but you need more resources to do that. Obviously.
What's kind of interesting with Show No Mercy is stuff like okay, so say for example you have intimidated 2 cards out of their hand already, and then you attack with Show No Mercy. you intimidate another card out of their hand. They have one card in their hand. If they block with that one card, they now have no cards in their hand, and this gets
They now
plus
have
3.
No cards in their hand.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
yeah, this is a static effect. This isn't just like when this attacks, it gets plus 3 if they have no cards. This just like if they have no cards in their hand, it gets plus 3. So if they block with their whole hand, this gets plus 3, which is kind of interesting. So even intimidating,
damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of situation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think intimidating 3 cards from their hand is basically guaranteeing this to hit for a crap load. Because even if they block with that 1, it gets plus 3 to offset the block anyway. So
yeah,
I think this is a little bit better than some people give it credit for. And I've seen people being like, "Oh, this card sucks." I don't think this is that bad. It's also a block 3. All of the brute cards I've seen so far have like block on them, like the Bonebreaker Bellow, the pump card also has a block 3, which is cool.
Yeah, that never happens.
Yeah.
Brute cards never block.
The only one I can see here, there's a couple like 2 blocks that are like dual class cards, but like the only one that doesn't block so far is No Fear, which prevents damage anyway. So I don't know. It feels like they're trying to shore up a lot of Brute's weaknesses.
Yeah, which is why I'm scared of the fact they didn't give Rhinar a new ability, but there we are.
So, one of the last cards that I want to talk about, unless you guys have other things you'd like to talk about, because there's a lot of expansion slot cards we haven't mentioned yet. But the other card that I specifically want to talk about is called Wage Gold, because it has a new keyword that is super, super interesting. So, Wage Gold is one of those 3-cost, 7-attack cards. It blocks for 2. It's a generic attack action, and has a new keyword called Universal, which says, while in any zone, this is the same class as your hero, which is pretty awesome, actually. Like, I can't think of too many crazy cases with it right now, but this is one of those abilities where, like, it's just going to be something you got to think about just for anything going forward, because it could literally be any hero class. Like, I don't know, it's really cool. This is like technically the first like shapeshifter attack action, right? Whereas like the other shapeshifter action we got before wasn't an attack, right? It was just kind of a non-attack, but or was it an attack for 2? I don't remember.
We have a Shiana specialization. Yeah, the inducing allurement. Alluring inducement.
Yeah, that one.
Inducement.
Yeah.
But I mean, like this would be like the first like I guess non-specialization like shapeshifter attack. And this is also a way that you can make any hero wager, because the other effect on this card is when this attacks a hero, you may wager a gold with them, which is I don't know, it's pretty cool. I don't know, I like this card a lot. This is also one of those cards with the cycle. So you have the yellow version being a 6 attack, and then the blue version being a 5 attack. Once again, pretty cool for Kayo, at least in limited. So yeah, that's really the last card I want to talk about. I think this universal mechanic is really cool and really interesting. And I didn't expect them to print something kind of like this yet, where they're like, here's a rainbow card, right? Like this is every class. I don't know, it's cool. This is also
definitely an interesting ability as well. Like
the first.
What does it mean?
The first.
Why do we want to do this?
First non-arrow ranger attack action as well. Because it is a ranger attack, but it's not an arrow, which is interesting. I don't know. I think that this card's cool. So that's the last card I want to talk about today. There's a bunch of other like stuff we can go over at future time.
I think there's a lot. Obviously, these are pretty much all the ones that have been spoiled so far. But one I wanted to just touch on very briefly before we close it off is Test of Strength. Now, this is the only card in this set that says Clash with the attacking hero. So we haven't seen any more Clash cards, right?
We have seen another test. So we've seen Test of, I'll pull it up, Test of Agility as well.
So so Test of Agility and Test of Strength, and then Test of something else, I imagine, whatever the other one is. Test of Wealth, perhaps. There's
Test of Strength. I mean, Test of Strength is the wallet one. Test of Strength cares about gold. And then Test of Agility is a dual class card. So Test of Strength is generic, And then Test of Agility is Brute and Warrior, and they're all block cards. Which
Yeah, so
all they do is block. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know whether we'll see just Clash in a defensive capability, but again, going back to defensive things, there could be a lot more D-reacts and other things in this set that we haven't seen yet, which care about Clash. But I just wanted to point that out as well before we closed it off, because we haven't seen much of that mechanic. That's a new one as well. It is Clash, so we haven't seen much of that, and that's what I was alluding at earlier when I said, "Oh, if Betsy comes rolling into a meta that doesn't care about cards with high power, if Clash is a thing, if Clash is a weird mechanic where you get value out of revealing the top card, and if it's not a powerful attack, you get value." Weird mechanics like that, and Wager, and these things that we said earlier about parasitic mechanics, they are very, very focused on what they want to do. So if a meta is not doing that, you can really prey upon that with these weird and wonderful mechanics.
Yeah, if you're not like prepared for it, exactly.
For the
exactly.
audio listeners, if you don't know what Clash is, because as said, that literally only appears on a couple cards so far. Clash only appears on these block cards. I'll read Test of Strength with this, which is the generic one. So it's just a block card for 4. It's a red version. We have not seen any other versions. Same is true for the Test of Agility. And it says, when this defends, clash with the attacking hero. The winner creates a gold token. For the Agility one, they create an Agility token. And Clash says, as a reminder text, clashing heroes reveal the top card of their deck. The hero that reveals the card with the greatest attack wins. So, obviously for heavy hitters, it'll be a little bit more balanced, right? I think everyone will be running some degree of big old chungus attacks. Even warriors, like I mentioned, there's some 7 attack warrior cards in this set.
Yeah, exactly.
But outside of that, and I think I might have mentioned this in one of the videos that I did, it might have been the one for Channel Fireball, but I was like, I don't know, maybe this could be cool against like ninjas or heroes that still care about attack power, but don't have very high attack power, or still care about attacking, right? Because against like a wizard, what attacks are you going to be blocking? I guess like Kano could run Bull Kano. He could run his 3 for 7s, probably not, but
I have seen a Kano run in Lightning Strike before. That was fun.
Hey, my commoner Kano runs Moonwish, so Sunkiss Moonwish,
Powerful.
And you can run these in those decks. These are common cards. At least Test of Strength is a common card. So actually that's kind of interesting. I didn't think about it from that perspective either. Test of Agility is rare, but for commoner you can run Test of Strength. I don't know. That's kind of cool.
But I just thought I'd cap it off with that, because again, it's another mechanic that's introduced into this set, but we haven't seen too much of it. So is it going to be just a defensive mechanic, or is it going to be on other things? We will see soon enough. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all the heroes, and obviously you touched on a few of the cards there that were also released over the last month or so. We've had the other ones as well with the expansion slots, which you probably would have all seen by now anyway, because they were spawned a long time ago. But yeah, unless there's anything else Flesh and Blood related, I think that's pretty much it for this week.
I think that should do it for us.
Yeah, I think that's good. We have spoiler season coming up in just a couple weeks, so it's going to get quite busy around then. Like as mentioned earlier, it'd be cool to get Brian Gottlieb back on to talk about heavy hitters. I have not 100% confirmed it yet, but I'll shoot him a message at some point and see if he's available for some time after I get back from Japan, because I will be in Japan when Heavy Hitters releases, which is it releases on the 2nd, and I'll be in Japan until the 5th or the 6th. So when I get back, I'm going to be jumping right into a lot of card games.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a nice segue into the Arsenal step then, because it's going to be released when you're away. So it's going to be awesome. I'm going to be in the USA for the SCG con, which I mentioned briefly earlier. But I've been playing a lot of games recently. I've been back onto Baldur's Gate again. God's sake, here we go.
I still need to finish that. I'm still in Act 3. and I need to go back and finish it. I just kind of like after 100+
Yeah.
hours, I kind of stopped.
Yeah, same here. I got to Act 3 and with my Azalea Ranger character, and then I completed Shadowheart's storyline, and I was just like, oh, I can't be asked anymore. But then I turned it on. I turned it on over the Christmas. Yeah, I turned it on over the Christmas period, and I was just like, oh, I'll just get back into this. I'll make a fighter character which replaces the Lae'zel character because I don't like her very much, the Lae'zel character. So I just thought, oh, I'll just create my own fighter. Yeah, 22 hours later, I'm still playing it.
That's why you gotta get Karlach, bro. Screw Lae'zel, get Karlach.
Yeah, Karlach.
Yeah, Karlach's in my team as well.
Get Karlach, cast haste on her, and just let her murder everything. That's what I do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
She's got like this legendary trident. At least my version of Karlach has this legendary trident that just murder.
The one that you throw it and it comes back? Or...
Yeah. I rarely throw it, but I usually just have her jump next to a dude and just like smack. Yeah. Or smack with haste. Just murders stuff.
Wow, you guys really min-maxed your characters, eh?
No, I just play a lot of D&D, and I like playing magical characters. So I play I know all the good wizard spells. My main character in Baldur's Gate still my wizard. My squad is Shadowheart, Astarion, my main character, and then Lae'zel. That's the squad I roll up with, and pretty good. I initially spec'd Astarion into Arcane, the Arcane Trickster, so he could cast spells. But I was like, he just kind of like was a suckier version than my character. So I swapped him to Assassin, and now he just kind of murders stuff too. So I just position him and Karlach on my kill target. I just flank him, and he's just backstabbing him while Karlach is wailing on him, and everything just dies in like 2 turns. So, yeah,
Brilliant.
It's good. I recently did a fight. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I did a fight. There was a bunch of spellcasters, and they kept trying to cast Hold Person, but my character, I gave my character Counterspell, and so every time they try to cast Hold Person, I'm just like, it was like, would you like to cast Counterspell? And I'm like, yep, Counterspell. So it's just like they can't.
I sure would.
Like they can't do shit, and so I'm like, oh, good, waste your turn. I'm just gonna kill you. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
I need to finish.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. Like you can literally start again, and just everything you encounter is completely and utterly different. Like I saved Gale this time, so I've finally got Gale in my team now.
Should use him.
Not realizing that he even existed on the first playthrough. And on the second playthrough, actually ventured into the Mountain Pass region rather than going. Well, I did the Underdark bit, and then went back to do the Mountain Pass. I didn't realize you could do both, so I did both.
And in my first playthrough, I literally did both. I got to a point where the game was like, this is a point of no return, and I'm like, nope, and then I just backtracked and did everything else. Got to that same point on the other side, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, because on the first playthrough, I was like, right, well, the Temple of Shar and stuff, where I obviously want to go for Shadowheart things, is in the Underdark sort of area through Grimforge and that. And I was when I went to the Mountain Pass, it said this is the point of no return. I was like, no, I can't do this then. I need to go the other way. But then I didn't realize. I just obviously because I wanted to do something different this time, went that way instead. But then realized you can go back to a different region again. So you missed loads of XP and all sorts of loot there.
Oh yeah, my characters are like barely starting Act 3, and I think I'm level 11. I think 12 is the cap. So I'm like, I'm gonna cap out way before the end. I just did an encounter with a bunch of tough enemies, and I just rinsed them. Nice. Like, yeah, it's funny that you missed the Mountain Pass because there's like one of the best weapons in the game for Shadowheart there. It's the Lathander mace that you can use to cast Sunbeam, which fucking destroys.
Yeah, that thing's blasted.
Just destroys people. So even after I got the spear, like I'm like, dude, the mace that I already have is like better, I think. So
yeah, I've seen some hints of the blood of Lathander hinted around, but I don't know what the hell it is, and I just refuse to Google it. So I don't know whether I don't know whether I'm ever going to find that on this playthrough. But we'll see.
So I didn't Google anything. Just explore and do the quests in that area. You can get it.
Yeah, because there's I don't know whether I don't know. We'll cap this off in a moment. But I think I sold I sold one of the maybe one of the things that I need for the quest. I sold the ceremonial sword, which was in the room.
Oh no, maybe you go find that
Whoops.
NPC and buy that back. You might be able to still do it without it. I don't know, but you do need to get like a bunch of ceremonial pieces and put them in the right things, and then the thing. It's like a very long and involved thing, in that area. Like it's not just like you'll miss the room. It's like you go do a thing and it unlocks an area and you proceed through the area and there's like some stuff and yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Yeah, I just didn't get on with that bit at all. So it's like there's a bunch of like kobolds in there. You kill all those, they all just sat there getting pissed on wine, weren't they?
Yeah,
yeah, they were.
They all oh, brilliant.
And then I cast fireball and explode everything.
Oh yeah, the whole distillery goes down the drain.
Yep. And then underneath there's like the crash. I won't go into it much more than that, but needless to say, I pissed them off and I ended up killing every single one of them too.
Yep, I did. Yeah.
It's good XP.
Oh, that's just I don't care. You can spoil it because people have played it at this point. But that hatching room as well, we have to steal the egg. That was brilliant.
It's funny because when I did that,
to sneak it and steal it. It's brilliant.
Oh, I convinced them to give it to me. I didn't actually sneak. I was just like,
did you?
Yeah, I just did some checks and they were just like, here you go.
Cheers, then.
Yeah, but the funniest part about that is those NPCs don't hostile when the rest of the place does. So everyone else was dead except for the 2 or 3 people in that hatchery, and they really cared about the egg. I was like, all right, fine. Yeah, I was like, all right, fine. I won't kill you. I'll talk my way out of it. They give you I think they gave me like boots to help me get it or something. They gave me something to help me get it.
Yeah, because the guy who's watching over the egg has got the boots of acidic resistance, so you don't die in the pool of acid, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we go too long about this, just enjoying that game again. Has anybody else got an Arsenal step that they want to go through? But apart from Bill's birthday, he's going out in a minute.
Yeah, apart from my birthday, I've sort of mentioned that I enjoy like roguelikes and Vampire Survivors style games. I found one recently that I'm actually having a lot of fun with. It's called Halls of Torment.
Oh,
and
I know what you're talking about.
It's like Diablo 2 inspired.
Yeah.
You actually get like gear that you can level up your character with, and I'm really enjoying that. It's a game that I've been playing.
Open up my Steam. So I have been playing some games. I've been playing more digital Shadowverse, because it was announced recently that Shadowverse 2 essentially is coming out next year. It's called Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. I'm very, very excited for that. I will probably be playing that. I will be no-lifing that and probably making content out of it to some degree. But so I've been playing Shadowverse a little bit here and there, but more recently, I want to give a little shout out to this fun little puzzle adventure game series called Detective Grimoire. It's the first one. The second one is called Tangle Tower. And the reason I kind of started to play these again, I had played Tangle Tower before, never played the first game, Detective Grimoire, is because they're coming out with a new game called The Mermaid's Tongue. And I got notified of it on Steam. It's like, oh, because of a game you played, yada, yada, yada. And they're really, really fun and charming. And they have great voice acting. They're like little indie adventure games, kind of like Monkey Island, but not exactly like Monkey Island, but kind of like Monkey Island vibes. They're pretty short. I beat Detective Grimoire in one sitting and 100%ed it, and I guessed I sussed out the culprit pretty easily. The second game, Tangle Tower, is a little bit longer. I think I remember it took me like 6 to 7 hours to do, and I'm excited for the next one. So if you're into those kind of games, charming characters, good voice acting, good animation, Detective Grimoire. Tangle Tower, I'd say, is the best one to start with. And I think they're currently on sale for the winter sale, very cheap. The reason I bought Grimoire was it was like $1.30 or something. So,
wow,
very good. Yeah, it took me 3 hours to beat. It looks like, but recommended. Good stuff. I think Aaron Hansen did voice acting in the first one. I don't know if he does it in the second one. Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps. So anyway, that would be my recommendation. Something a little bit off tempo than what I normally talk about. So.
Yeah.
Because I like games and I play a lot of games. So, yeah.
We all like games. And I can't believe I would not have played Baldur's Gate 3 if it wasn't for you guys. So thanks very much for putting me on that hype train and making me waste at least 100 hours of my life. Not waste, but expend.
Before we go, I haven't played it yet. On my docket, because you mentioned Baldur's Gate 3, is Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, which is another CRPG like Baldur's Gate, but it's set in 40k. Oh, really? If anyone has played it in the community, let us know in the comments. I'm very curious to know if it's any good. It seems good. Seems like there's a ton of like lore and characters and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It'd be cool to just have my own character and play around in the 40k universe. So let me know if it's any good. Seems good. Looks good. Has good reviews. But yeah, that's a little bit. It's on my wish list. Is it on sale? I don't know. But
I'm looking at the winter sale now, so I'm going to do that after we've ended this. But thanks for everybody who tuned in for Living Legends podcast. It's been a pretty loose one, but obviously we got into some pretty deep topics there with the heroes, and like to know what your thoughts and comments are. So leave a comment in the section below. We still do have the email. We keep forgetting to read out emails that might have come in. I'm not sure if we have any as of right now, but the Living Legends podcast at gmail.com is the place to go if you want to email your thoughts, comments, and questions into this particular podcast. We'll get to them as soon as we can. But apart from that, I've been the host for today. My name's Az from Going In Gaming. You can find me on Going In Gaming. Just released a video about my itinerary for the next event I'll be at, which is the SCG Con at Hartford in East Coast, USA. So that'll be fun. In a month's time, I'll be there. So if you're there, say hello. I've got some Shui tokens I can give you. So come and say hello. But yeah, that's pretty much me. I'll throw it over to Birthday Boy, Birthday Man, I should say now.
That's me. I'm Bill from the Spike Feeders. You can find me on social media at BillTSF. You can also find me on YouTube at Spike Feeders FAB. We do live edited gameplay content, normally in Blitz format. We do have a recent UPF video that we released, so if that's something that, any of that is something that sounds interesting to you, you should definitely go check us out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Last but not least, Mr. Red Zone Rogue.
Hello, I have been Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue. You can find me everywhere at Red Zone Rogue. And yeah, man, 2024 is going to be an insanely busy year for a lot of people, and myself, no exception. So yeah, catch me anywhere at Red Zone Rogue. I have tons and tons of content planned across a lot of different card games. Going to the Shadowverse LCQ on the 20th. Then I'm going to Japan on like February 1st. And then once I get back from Japan, I have 2 seconds to breathe before I hit the ground running, doing a bunch of content for Heavy Hitters and the new Shadowverse set, which both launch on the exact same day, which is February 2nd. So just so much stuff. But amidst all that, I do want to plan that like UPF Heavy Hitter stream. I think that'd be really cool. So I'm gonna try to rope some people into it and
crack some packs, have a game. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, it should be a good time, I think.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Cool. Well, stay tuned. We'll see you do it all over again very, very soon. Here on the Living Legends podcast. We'll see you again soon. Cheers. I'm moving to Crapstone.
I mean, it's got to be better than Swindon, at least. Little does Az know, Swindon or Crapstone is just the alternate name for Swindon. Yeah.
That's right.
It is just straight up Swindon.